Greetings. I have the pleasure to introduce you to a friend of mine. Um, I think we're almost on 3 years of knowing each other. Um, this is Wekster. So let's start out.
Hey,
Of course, I am pezliz, aka Liz. This is currently being filmed live to tape on Twitch. So if you're joining on YouTube, welcome. But you can join me on Twitch a lot of the time, twitch.tv/pezliz. And I'm doing this interview series with designers and other people, which is of course pushed onto YouTube, but it's more fun live on Twitch because we do all kinds of really fun stuff during the streams, and yeah, that's where we are. But as I mentioned, I've known Wekster for close to 3 years. But I always like to sort of revisit these opportunities to introduce people to people. And Wex, tell us about yourself.
oh boy, again. So, my name is Vedran, and I'm just a guy from Croatia who likes to do 3D stuff. I started doing that a few years ago. I'm not even sure when. Uh, 2017, I think. I just wanted to print other people's stuff. I wanted to do a bunch of movie props because I like movies, and then slowly I started making my own models, and now I have like 500-600 models that I've created so far, and I'm doing models every month for my Patreon and printable club supporters, and that's it. I mean, I'm mostly famous because of these mini dudes that I do. Uh, like this thing. I have few on my table always. Uh, also I have a game trailer company. I do game trailers, and I'm sort of director for TV commercials. So I do a lot of different stuff when I'm not working.
So when you're not working, so the design, what was the first inkling that you wanted to start designing your own models?
Uh, First time I a long time ago actually, like before 3D printing, I really wanted to do some 3D stuff, but all the software that I tried uh, were not organic. You couldn't shape stuff faster. You needed to do it differently, and for me that wasn't creative. So a few times I tried to make something, watched a few tutorials, and gave up. But only when I started printing, when I found Fusion 360, I actually started modeling something. First, it was like I tried to do some Nerf guns.
Ah, okay.
It was like something that I was like, okay, let me try how that works. I had no clue. I didn't even had a Nerf gun. I didn't even try anything. I just went with the idea and experimented for that for like uh, a month. And uh, one of the things that I hate about myself is that I'm extremely impatient, or at least I was then. So every time when I wanted to print something, it just took so much time. And then I decided that I'm gonna create something that could be printed fast, and started making some pill-shaped models. And that's where when I created those mini dudes, and that was my first sort of like organic thing that I did in Fusion. But it was kind of limited for whenever I wanted to do something. There were certain limitations, or the lack of knowledge, skill issues. So then I moved into ZBrush, and now I'm just mostly using ZBrush for most of my stuff.
So
And
what
I don't even
started
know what
the
was the
yeah.
question, but I just went
Oh,
with it.
no,
So
what started?
like,
So and of course, um I think I first got to know you with the minis. I saw the minis popping up all over the place. What inspired
second,
you? We're gonna get some inspiration.
I
Also,
noticed something. I have a
ah,
box of the stuff because I was cleaning. Okay, this is not a print. This is my first curing station.
oh my
But
goodness, a nail curing station. That's awesome.
but yeah, like I was printing. Sorry, is it okay to show this kind of stuff?
I think so. Yeah, it should be fine. It's a
This,
prop.
this is a Hellboy, Good Samaritan. I like Hellboy, so I was first prints like were this kind of stuff, and then I started experimenting with my nerf guns, and these are the parts of one that I did.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I don't know where are the pieces. Oh yeah, here. And also I was experimenting with other stuff. Like I was into Hot Wheels, so I was modding my own ramps and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like I always try to do something as a part of the project before, until I actually jumped and started doing just organic mini dudes and busts and occasionally masks, helmets. But I try to keep it light.
You have an amazing catalog, and I love that you'll do like a mini of something, so it's like the cartoonish style. Actually, I can give you guys an example. So this is, like a cartoonish Lady Liberty. I actually did her in like neon green. I think this is ABS or ASA. So it's like the brightest neon green. And then they don't always coincide, but a lot of the times they do. Then he did, this is actually kind of interesting right now, the Death of Liberty, this sculpt. And I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. This is an amazing, and I did it in gold. I know a lot of
I was
people
actually
did
worried
it
about that one.
yeah.
Like I had an idea, I just went with it, and towards the end, I think it was like last hour when I was finishing the model, then it popped into my head. I mean,
Yeah.
what if people see that as something bad? So then I asked a bunch of Americans who are in my Discord, is this offensive in any way? And they were like, no, everything's fine. So okay.
This is art. This is absolutely. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, all 3D sculpts are art, but this is a piece. It's absolutely.
Yeah, but
gorgeous.
like I just went with the idea. I wasn't thinking about how people will look at it. It only crossed my mind at the end after I was done with the model. Usually I try to stay away from any kind of offensive stuff or anything.
Yeah,
but
it's it's really neat. Speaking of art, of course, we have. This is one of many I've printed. This is just the one that I had right there. Darth Jar Jar. So when you started out, you were doing minis, you're doing some busts, you're doing all these other things. When did community start to come into play? When did the whole idea of patrons and all of that?
I had no plan that I'm gonna do anything with 3D printing except having fun. But then I like I said, I was doing stuff in Fusion. I was happy with the whole thing until a certain point when I wanted to do more, and I just needed to move away from that. So I found ZBrush. Finally learned how to navigate through that damn thing, because everyone who tries ZBrush has terrible experience because the logic is completely different than any other software. So it freaks out a lot of people, including myself. And then I realized that ZBrush is the way to go. I really like the software, but I was on a 45-day trial, and software at that time was like $600, I think. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to pay for this thing, and then I decided to make Patreon, and it didn't go well at the beginning. It was a slow start because I was no one. I was just guy who had some models on Thingiverse, and few people started printing it. But I've noticed that more and more people are printing it every week. I remember first time I woke up and there was a notification that someone printed and posted the make on Thingiverse, and that was like the best day ever. Seeing that someone else printed my model, it was such a great thing. And one guy that I know, he's also a YouTuber, Preston Press Reset.
Mm-hmm.
He have noticed my models, and then he was chatting with Joel, and they started promoting that, and then people actually started joining my Patreon. And after I got like 10-15 Patreon, it was like, okay, now I need to do this. There's no way back. And I just love it, like the whole process of everything, because I think it was kind of much harder because people weren't used to Patreon at that time yet, and it's like, oh, I don't want to go there, I don't want to leave my credit card or something. Now Patreon is like acceptable, same as I know, printables or things or anything else. It's perfectly normal. And now we have more and more people in the community, so I guess it's much easier to get some support than when I actually started.
So one of the reasons I interviewed Kit Kiln a couple of weeks ago, here, I'll grab a model right here. There's a Kit Kiln model. One of the reasons I interviewed Kit Kiln is because I noticed that he had a very vibrant and active and supportive community, and a lot of them are focused on the designer. What I noticed a lot of them are actually very new to 3D printing. Mm-hmm. They're very niche in what they like. But what I noticed about your community, and this is a not so hidden secret, is that your community is composed of a lot of people that are actually designers themselves, or in creative fields and stuff. Yeah. And what's really interesting, if any of you, if you become a patron of Wekster, or, are friends with people, you'll see his Discord hangouts are a very co-working creative space. A lot of the times we're like goofing off watching Digital Corridor videos and stuff like that, but it's a certain it's just a really interesting way that people are always willing to help each other, and in all different ways. But it's a creative space where all the what did I tell my mom? We're all creative misfits, like creative misfits, a bunch of but really interesting, like and it's also a truly global hangout. Like there are people from all over the world. We also have someone that's, traveling Freddy. He's always somewhere else in the world, but I
like how like I was against Discord for a long time, and then Eastman actually forced me to make, and he was like, if you don't want to create your own, I'm gonna create one for you. And I was like, okay, just guide me, let me do that damn thing. So at the beginning it was like normal. I would just answer to stuff, and I'm not sure, I think during COVID we actually started doing some kind of live chat meetings, and more and more people started showing up, and it was really cool because we couldn't go out, and that was like nice way to kind of get away from any problems, to talk to people from all around the world, see different kind of perspectives and everything, and like even these days it's super interesting. I just like that live chat in Discord. It's like my little pub where I get to hang out with cool people every night.
It's great. And like people in different time zones, they pop in at different times. Yeah. Sometimes you'll have gone to bed and people are in there like 4 hours later. So yeah, it is fantastic. But I think what I'm saying is your what you surrounded yourself with is a whole bunch of really interesting creative people. And I think actually Shirtle here, he says we beat each other up every day. It's true. you don't go there to be pat on the head and say it'll be okay. It's really
No,
funny. There was someone that came
hell
in
no.
one day and they're trying, oh, I'm trying to make 3D printing a business. And I mean, I've seen a couple times where people are like, well, did you do this, and this? Okay, well, if you haven't done that, don't talk to it, don't complain, but it's done
It
with
is because a
kindness.
lot of people
Yeah.
have already went through stuff, and like in a lot of cases, you have people who want to do something quickly, and they don't listen, and they just give up quickly and leave. I mean, we can't do
Yeah.
anything to
Yeah.
help those people, but usually whenever someone shows up and asks for help, we try to do something if we can. Uh,
Absolutely.
if
Absolutely.
someone needs help, like I can help them with a lot of stuff, but when it comes to sculpting ZBrush and some other stuff, I can always give my opinion or show how something is done or how I would do that stuff. Pete and a bunch of other people use. Pete also use ZBrush, but he also knows Nomad. He can help out with Fusion 360. He's doing a bunch of light boxes, so like we always try to do something interesting. Then I mean now more and more creative individuals show up, and we talk about what software is best, and it's always ZBrush in my opinion. So I'm slowly converting them all.
No, I one thing that I've learned from you, and also from from being in there, is when you have something that's supposed to be an organic model, there's no symmetry. Like, stop trying to make, that's one thing I think that's one thing I noticed, that when someone says, oh, I just did this sculpt, what do you think? And you're like, it's too symmetrical.
Uh,
It's not.
yeah, and I also fell into the same trap a lot of time, because you don't know when you need to let go of symmetry. Like when it comes to faces, we are not symmetrical. Period. So whenever you try to make something, when you will notice that something is off, but you will never know why. You need to like lower some parts, just make it slightly different, and that makes a huge difference. So at the end of each sculpt, I try to slightly modify faces so it looks better. Sometimes you just can't do anything with faces. Some people are just weird and ugly. We did the scan like photogrammetry the other day. I wanted to print my face because I have a Deadpool mask that it's like the sauce one. It doesn't have a shape, so it actually needs to
Oh,
go
that's
on a
fun.
face. Uh, my wife went actually today in a store, and she remembered that I wanted to have a like that displayed somewhere, and she found the styrofoam head, but the head is small, and wait, I need to show you this. This is like, this is a nightmare fuel. So it's a really nice material. Like you close it around the neck, and there's a zipper here. But like I said, it needs to be on a proper face, or it's gonna look like this. I know Pokemon likes that stuff.
That looks, yes, that looks a little bit special.
Yeah.
But one thing actually you don't like doing, I know this, you don't like making minis of women. You don't mind doing, like, you can do a beautiful
No.
sculpt, a beautiful bust, but yeah, you don't like doing minis of women.
Yes. It's a thing that I haven't figured out, because I always have the same opinion, and that's that mini dudes are like weird little things, and making a female character into weird little thing, it just doesn't work well. Like I have a lot of respect towards the female side, and it's like girls are always beautiful, and they cannot be mini dudes. So sometimes I try to do something
you did
that. But
Ripley.
I'm always I did few and I regret most of them. It's weird. I just don't like that. And every year I'm like, okay, now I know more about characters. I think I can finally nail it, and then I spend some time trying to refine to make something that looks much better. And it's like, nope, let's move on.
So one thing I really appreciate about you as a designer, for someone who 3D prints all the time, I think we actually did the math on my X1 Carbon, which is a year old. I have printed over 300 days in a year on it.
Okay.
In hours.
That's a lot.
Is you make things printable, and if you know that something's going to be a challenge, you acknowledge in the description and in your introduction post to the model where you need to have supports, and how to best print it. And
I
think
do that, but
yeah.
I do that mostly on Patreon, because you can actually write the whole post, and
Yes.
I always forget to put that whenever I upload the model somewhere else. But yeah, like I don't want people to have bad experience. I would rather warn them where they need to add support to make it printable. I had an issue. Like I uploaded one model on Cults. It was one of my dice towers, and a lot of people just they just want to print stuff, and they don't think about, is it actually printable without support or anything.
Yeah.
They just think that everything needs to be support free, and then they start complaining like, oh, it's missing the upper part, like it needed the support. Yeah. You should have go through slice and see, like every time we would do that. Let's not make this super lazy. I'm sorry, I try to warn people, but I want people still to be able to print my models and double check everything, because sometimes I forget stuff. Like
Yes.
sometimes I forgot to warn, like I usually write the same thing. Oh, you need to put here, you need to put there. Sometimes I miss maybe something, and then I would rather that people do the thing on their own and not just think, well, whatever I said, it's the best thing. Because also about orientation, sometimes like I try to sculpt and orient all of my models how they should be printed, but sometimes people find a better orientation for something, and I'm like, damn, I should have thought of that too.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that. Yeah, for a lot of your busts, you'll have a base, and then you'll have something that prints. I think a tiny bit of supports under the chin. That's what you suggested for this. But yeah, it's so funny with all the new 3D printers, as advanced as they are, 3D printing 101 still applies, and it's fascinating for me because I'm elbows deep in the community in that sense, and I'm still having people. And but what's really interesting is, so there's people that don't know about supports and don't know about those sorts of things, and then there's people that have brand new sparkly printers that can do just about everything, and they're still like putting massive brims and like like that. They have old habits too. So I find it really interesting right now where we are, where like things are you still need education as part of your experience.
Yeah, and I think that we actually talk less about that, because now in the community we kind of think that everyone should know stuff,
but they don't.
Yeah, but after a few failed prints, you quickly learn. So it's something that you need to learn fast, or you will not have a successful print. Like I've seen people complain like, oh, can I get a print? It's constantly failing, and then people try to help, and at the end they realize that person didn't just put the support. So okay, you need to start doing that. How I do that?
Yeah. Clean your build plate. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy when new people jump into community and find nice places to ask questions.
Yes.
Because sadly there are a lot of bad places these days, and people don't have patience.
Oh, people can
I
be very, yeah, they're very mean. They're very mean.
Yeah.
There's definitely gatekeepers, and then there are people that are tribalists when it comes to things, and it's everything's wrong. I've experienced it where I had a problem with a printer,
Hmm.
and there were people that were saying it has to be something that you're doing. Turns out that it's an issue, a known issue with the extruder. The best solution for it was to put
I
to
I think the
to
problem
make changes.
is I mean, of course, if I didn't have a certain problem, and you are having that one, and uh maybe at one point I will think the same, because like obviously if it's working for me, and you have a problem, and you then, like, how it's with people, you ask, did you try this, did you try that, yes, 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 everything, then maybe it's something that you didn't do right. It happens with a lot of people. Like, I know how many times I complain about something, and during the conversation, then I realized how stupid I was, and I was like, just stay
Yes.
silent and fix it quickly.
Yesterday I replaced the extruder on my bamboo, and then
Hmm.
the first print it was still printing like garbage, and I realized that I did not tighten one of the screws on my
Oh,
hot end. I almost broke the entire thing. Like,
wait, someone mentioned that he forgot to put both screws during the print
oh, it can happen
recently.
easily.
Yeah.
You slide it up, and what happened was I had one screw was actually the wrong size. I had a dish with a whole bunch of screws, and they actually have a little bit of a tapered end, and I didn't
Hmm.
realize it, and yeah, it was going loose. So it happens. Um, it happens to the worst of us. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting. I think this, like, last year there were a lot of like uh territorial wars and like brand wars and stuff like that. And
I
now it
hate
seems
that.
to have, yeah, it was awful. I mean,
I hate
we
that. Like,
saw it.
and for me, it was that it's like, okay, people have certain opinions about printers, and they like certain brands, and it's okay. But why do you have to be negative, or why do you think that your opinion is the best if you haven't tried both things? Like, uh, like, I have a bunch of bamboos, and for me, at one point, they were the best printers because they completely changed what I had before, and they were faster and all of that. Multi-material worked great, and it was just perfect. Everything is good. But then, Excel was announced, and everyone started shitting about this or that, and I always stayed away from that, and I didn't wanna go into that discussion because I didn't had one. I cannot complain or compare
Yeah.
stuff that I don't have. And same thing was when Mark IV came out. I had Mark III. I know what kind of printer that is, and it always served me well. I said that bamboos were faster, in my opinion, better. But again, I didn't say anything bad about Mark IV because I had no clue. Is it better? Does it work great or not? uh, and and I hate that when people just jump into discussion without actually trying one, or like both things, and actually be able to compare stuff. Uh,
I actually have
and
a perfect prescription to that too. The cure for the printer wars and stuff is to actually attend anything where there's 3D prints around. People, the average person, it makes step outside of your own like bias, step outside of yourself. The average person is just excited to see something 3D printed. And also at the 3D printing events, people are just excited to see projects and things like that. I think a lot of that washes away. One of the things that I think is really important in a space like this that can become a bubble where people get their head stuck in a bubble is to like reach outside of it and think outside, think outside of your own space. That's what I'm saying I really appreciate about
yeah, but
most of the
like,
time. Yeah.
People go into certain clans or something, and their opinion gets shaped. Same like with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I like we are going in some like dark territory, but I absolutely hate how much people can be against each other about certain things, about like that, like bamboos or I don't know, creality or Prusa, and you will fight about that like it's the most important thing in the
Yeah.
world, and you will start hating person who is against you because you have one disagreement. But we are in 3D printing community, we have so much more in common than against each other. Like I don't get it.
Exactly. I'm always
Make love, no war.
curious. Yeah, I sort of take the thing like I'm always curious, and I would rather learn something or know something about, like, I remember there were people upset that I went to the first Creality Share Fest. I was there because my friends were going, and it actually was pretty fun. And then of course Kevin talked about, don't steal my ideas and put on Creality Cloud. He actually said that when he was winning a prize from Creality. He, let him say it. But it's one of those things, like, not everything has to be, you don't have to just approach things in different ways, and you never know, you might learn something, you might meet someone, you might experience something different. I mean, I got to see Sam Prentice basically at a pulpit getting a whole bunch of people to say Alleluia. The space that we're in looked like a church.
Oh, damn.
It was pretty fun. But it's like it's actually it's funny because someone said to me one day, remember, for most people this is a hobby. There are a lot of people that are working hard to make this, whether they're a designer, whether they're content creator, or selling filament. Some people it is either a side gig or it is a focus on their career, but for most people this is something fun. And my focus is to keep it fun, and if it's not fun, see what we can do to make it better. So, for example, with Z and Z, we like to help. We like to do a lot of like tutorials and help, and since Zombie's really into like the fine tuning of things, we do that, and all the different there's different ways that people can contribute, but like, just make it fun. And if you really find that you're not having fun, sometimes you have to step away from the printer, step away from software.
Especially
I find
if you
that
have an A8 and it's on fire, then you definitely need to stay away.
grab some marshmallows, bring it outside. Yeah. So for you, where do you find that balance? Because you have 2 other jobs, and then this is like a bonus side gig, I
guess. Honestly, like all the stuff that I do is a lot of fun for me. Everything is creative, and everything has ups and downs, and sometimes you just want to get away from one work and focus on something else. 3D printing and designing for 3D printing takes actually a lot of my free time, and it's kind of one of the most important things for me when it comes because I still try to sculpt most of the stuff that I actually like, and hope that other will like it too. So it's not like, oh, I have to do this or that in most cases. So sometimes you just have more motivation to do one thing over the other, and I kind of try to jump between those and just kind of try to manage my time properly. It works. It's so weird when it's going like that.
You have to be creepy about this. So most of the time you're sculpting what you want to sculpt, right? And there are times
I want to sculpt, and
when
it's
you were
like
convinced otherwise.
Sometimes I would I would spend more time playing games or watching TV
Yeah.
when I mean sculpting and like doing stuff for Patreon and printables. It's still obligation that it's not that I have to deliver certain amount of things. I can do less if I'm satisfied with that, and I'm gonna be perfectly fine. For me, it doesn't matter if someone thinks that I maybe did less this month and then they decide not to support me. But it's like it's that balance that I wanna have constantly. It really depends on the motivation. October is always super I have so much motivation for that month, and I'm releasing a lot of things. Sometimes I fell into that creative what it's called block, where when I just whatever I try to make, I think it's not good enough, and then a certain amount of time just goes by and I'm like, okay, I haven't done anything now. I can't do anything fast. It's gonna take some time, and I haven't released anything in the past week and a half, and I'm still sculpting, but I'm judging everything, and now I'm kind of in that situation where I cannot avoid how much stuff is piling. But I have a long weekend. We don't work on Monday here. It's a holiday, and I already realized today how that's good for my mental health, and I got the motivation. So I started doing something that I really hope people are gonna like. It's a Christmas model. I just did a quick test to see how it looks, but it's missing one important ingredient. It's a little toad. It has
Oh, he's so cute.
like Christmas ornaments and stuff, but it's missing a rocket.
Mistletoe. It's actually funny because Joe
Yes.
Mike, I think Joe Mike, this is really funny. Joe Mike makes, who is actually working on a whole bunch of Nerf blasters. He was actually talking about that. We were in a hangout and he said someone needs to make a mistletoe. So
It would be
I
great
think you crawled
to have
inside
actually
Joe
a
Mike's
functional
brain.
one
Yeah.
that can fire stuff, but like yeah, I'm having fun with that. I'm
You
doing
just said
few
fire.
other things. It's like I try to do a lot of stuff, but I like some people who know me for a long time. They can see what I'm sculpting in my Discord, and how at the end of the session I just delete something because I hate it, and then they yell at me. It's like I'm really judgmental about a lot of stuff that I do, and it's like, should I just throw this thing out and be like, okay, I delivered something, or I should just release something that really matters to me, that I think I did it good. So sometimes it's really weird to be in my mind.
Now you have a very large catalog.
Yeah.
I was actually going through all the things that I've printed of yours and seeing things where I need to get caught. For me, in myself, what I need to get caught up on. But do you find that because you have such a large catalog, and of course a lot of your stuff is based on different fandoms and stuff, do you find that you get new people even based on your older content?
Yeah, sometimes people like I haven't made any masks lately. Uh, just I just had enough. I felt like I'm trying to force myself to do something like that, and I decided to stay away. And sometimes people notice those and jump in, and they're like, "Oh, can you do something else?" I keep that in mind, but it's like,
well, you did do a new mask.
Really need to be something that I want to do,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna jump for it.
Yeah, and that's actually something I really appreciate about you, is that it has to be something that you want to do. I think that some people might even.
I
Yeah.
think that's really important thing, and that reflects on what I create. Uh, because if something is forced, uh, I will probably not gonna like it as well, and that's gonna reflect. It doesn't wanna it won't look good, and that's why I'm super happy with not that Jar Jar, the original one that I did, because
Yes.
I was saying no for a long time, but whenever I said no, I was still thinking how to make it, and then when I actually started doing it, it wasn't a big deal, and I was actually really happy how it looked.
Pokon says 4 years of no. It's
Yes.
actually funny. I don't think I told you this. I brought one of your Jar Jars. It's the one that I had actually fully painted and everything.
Hmm.
I brought it with me to the Midwest Rep Rap Festival. And the
Okay.
hotel clerk she had Star Wars tattoos everywhere. So on my way
Uh,
out, I actually gave it to her and she was nearly in tears. She loved it. So she goes, "No one respects Jar Jar Binks and I think he's the greatest thing." So like she was thrilled with
uh,
this bust. It was
so for me about Jar Jar, like Pokon says, 4 years of no. Pokon was asking me to make Jar Jar, and it became a like an inside joke because he would suggest that often. I would just reject immediately that idea.
and I
I didn't want to
supported
do
it.
Jar Jar.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it was the whole thing about Dark Jar Jar, and uh, few people mentioned that as an idea, and I started thinking about it, and then some Lego movie or something came out. I don't even remember what it was, but Dark Jar Jar was actually introduced, and
Yes.
I was like, okay, let's see how I could do that. And when I tried to figure out how to make Jar Jar the Dart one, I realized that I cannot do it before I make a normal Jar Jar. Then I'm gonna figure out what makes him tick, what makes him Jar Jar, how he looks, and all of that. And just because I made that one, I could easily shape the other one, the dark
Yeah.
one, and I like certain like design choices that I did between those two, and how different they look, but at the same time, kind of the same species. So
Yeah.
I
It was
I spend a lot of
it's
time thinking
beautiful.
about design and then actual sculpting stuff. So if I stop thinking about stuff, maybe I'm gonna do more. But yeah, I like to overthink, and everything that I did had some design choice that
I even took him to the beach in Nova Scotia. Look,
oh.
he's been everywhere. That's one of probably 300 million I've printed. So
I actually realize now I'm looking up the stuff that I have on the table, and for everything that I said no, uh, those are the things that I actually like the most because I had
hmm
time to think about them.
there's
Like
Star Jar. Yeah.
Grumpy and Pokon, they like Warhammer, and they were
Oh
kind
my
of
goodness.
begging me to make a Space Marine for a long time, and I was saying no. They were like, okay, make it as a mini dude. So I was just playing with the idea, and I absolutely hated it. So I ditched that. And then one day I started experimenting and made this thing, and I really like how it turned out. I'm really happy with this one, and I think both of them were super happy because Spoken printed a big
Oh.
big one, and
Oh, and then Grumpy did the
Grumpy
did
painted
the
one, yeah.
painted one. Yeah, I'm trying to find it for reference, but
And
it's absolutely
maybe
gorgeous.
just maybe during that process, I I s- I started buying stuff, and it's not like I'm buying Warhammer stuff every day. Just yesterday and the day before, and today I was just considering buying something, but I'm not
So you are
addicted to that.
influenced. You are not.
Yes.
Absolutely influenced. Here we go. Here's Grumpy's version. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
Stunning. And
that
apparently it
that
was
one like
in
exploded on
yeah.
Facebook in one group.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. And yeah, I love all the different details of it. It's fantastic. That's so fun. It's so fun. Um so your favorite season is spooky season.
Yes, absolutely.
Um let's do like the in the deep thing. You did not have like the easiest childhood.
No, not really. Like we had a war. Uh, my my parents split up when I was a kid. Uh, I didn't had a lot, so it was just hard at some point. And
Yeah, just throw a
well,
little war in there too. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah, just a
exactly.
little war. Yeah, war sucked, Like, yeah, it wasn't the greatest one, but I had I was escaping to movies and comic books, and that's what that's why I'm still doing stuff what I do. I was heavily influenced with all of that. I I got beat a lot because people like kids were either jealous of what I was doing, or they didn't believe me. Like once I got into trouble because some kids, older kids, noticed that I was doing some drawings, that I had some drawings with me, and they asked me who did those, and I said it was me, and they called me a liar because they couldn't believe that someone like me could draw those. So I had problems sometimes because of my creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh goodness.
uh, it's I think all of that is actually really good because it shaped me into a person I I am, and I'm kind of okay with all the stuff that I did through life. So I'm pretty pleased with all of that. And uh, being part of this community is definitely one of the things where I felt that where I have my place, and where I feel great. So
Yeah, you're one of the people that brings kindness and light, but then you're also like super sarcastic, and
oh, I am.
you're always willing to like get a little dig at it's I find you're a very refreshing person. And um there's this community has a lot of neurodivergence. There's a lot of also in your direct community. There's a lot of cultural differences too, and it's really interesting how it just everything just sort of bounces around. And I think one policy, if you ever join Wekster's community in particular, do not be easily offended, because
No,
we are
no.
we are having fun. We're learning from each other. We're sharing our own opinions. And I think I'll take a line from Royal Nomi. You don't have to like each other, but be respectful. And I think that's something that
That's
you actually you command you
that's really
actually
important.
expect of
Like
people.
we can all have like we can all have disagreement. We can all fight, but yeah, there needs to be some respect, and you can't ignore or forget everything when you're fighting, when you're disagreeing about something. That's just wrong. Like I stay away from politics. uh, I, I I can listen to everyone about their opinions. I can say mine, but I I I will give my opinion to people that I know are not gonna get offended by it, because they still know that I'm me, and that I'm not trying to be a bad person when I say something. And it's it's really really weird to see how in some places people just don't function together. It always makes me sad, and that's why I'm trying to, when people join my Discord, that everyone needs to like everything goes. We can have some weird jokes. We can have uh, some weird things there, but people need to be aware that everyone who is making some weird jokes, that he's not a bad person. That you need to start from that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of love there. I'm actually going to tell a little personal story here. Wekster was creating a dragon, this beautiful dragon, and he didn't have a name for it. And I was actually going through a really difficult period where I had to leave a space that I had been in. And in the space that I was in, there was this beautiful little cat named Iskra. And Iskra means spark in Polish, and I think
in Croatian.
In Croatian. Yeah. And so he actually named the dragon Iskra. And so it's like something I absolutely treasure. And it's, see, even now we have a thing for cats. Rex and I, and yeah.
Oh, you think? It was just the right name. I was trying to remember during this stream because it crossed my mind, but I'm so bad with naming stuff, and I hate that. And there was a situation a few years ago where I had a model done, and I couldn't figure out the name, and I didn't release that model for like 3 or 4 days, just because that it wasn't like. Today I could just go on ChatGPT and ask for help or someone in Discord. I know I was struggling, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna release it when I just figure out the name. And like with after Iskra with every dragon, I ask people for a name suggestion.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's, I mean, it's like, even thinking about it, but you sort of exude kindness and empathy, and like I said, you still get a little dig in there. What is something that you think people here might not know about you?
Oof. I don't know. I try to stay like open book, because I don't like to have any secrets. I think most of the stuff, even the bad things that happen in my life, most people who spend some time with me know, because there's no point of me hiding stuff. Like I said, I'm creating game trailers. I have a company, and we have that thing called NDA. So there are so many secrets that I need to keep professionally, that I don't want to keep my life a secret and just think who knows what. And I think it's much better like that. Less secrets, less problems. So I really don't know. I think most of the people know that I like animals, but I'm definitely a cat person. Right now I have 8 cats outside, and 1 inside. I absolutely love them because they are slight assholes, if I can say that, and I really appreciate that. I like dogs, but dogs are way too loyal, and they are super interesting. I like, don't get me wrong, dogs are awesome, and I like when how they look at me. They always melt my heart. But I really appreciate that moment when I look at my cat and I just melt in front of her, and she just looks away. Like, yep, I know. Like,
my childhood cat, she would get very, very close and need to reach to pet her, and she'd go toot, toot, toot. She's this little petite thing, and she just stepped just far enough away that you'd have to reach. Yeah, it was that's what it was like. And unless she needed you for warmth, I was there are some cats that are full of love, but most of the time
there's only one cat that is allowed inside this home, and actually technically the one is in the garage, because she has her own private space, because my wife decided that. And when my wife decides something, I just I can say my opinion, and it needs to be positive, and I need to agree with her, or something bad is gonna happen, like, because you can't negotiate with the devil. Anyway, we only have one cat here because she's a spoiled brat, and whenever we try to bring another cat here, she would freak out.
She is the
And
queen.
she's the absolute queen, and like we say, she's our first child. She's allowed to do everything, climb on the table, do basically she can do whatever. And every night when I go to bed, I turn on the TV. She climbs and just lies here, and then I can't even watch TV. Like her face is here, and then I just need to go to sleep. And I guess every time when I start losing it, I move a muscle or something, and then she's like super disappointed. She just gets up, looks at me, and like, no, you moved. Just goes down. Then I feel bad, like, oh no.
And you actually have a zombie hedgehog, or it exists.
I had few. I
Well,
have
the reason,
hedgehogs all
yeah,
around.
the reason zombie hedgehog is because they had one that was an absolute zombie, and then I think his mother still has hedgehogs. But yeah, they're interesting little creatures.
I mean, we have a bunch of hedgehogs because I didn't even realize before we moved into a house. We were always living in the apartment. That cat food is something they really love. So they always come here and eat everything. And my cats are just standing next and looking at it like, please go away. Like we got a bunch of cats also because we wanted to not have mice all around.
Oh yeah.
And so far when they see a mouse, they just stay away. Like I don't know you, move. We get food from that place.
So you've trained them well.
Yeah,
You've really trained them well.
we spoil them well.
So a zombie hedgehog, it probably is making supper right now. But his question would be, hedgehog sculpt when?
I was. I hope he's not here because I was thinking about that bunch of times, and once I actually tried to make one, and I just didn't. It wasn't. It wasn't ugly and weird and cute at the same time as I wanted, so I ditched that. And then I can't remember, someone else made the zombie hedgehog, and that thing looked really good.
The
And because
lantern
of that,
lore one, yeah.
yes,
But there's never enough.
yes.
There's
Thank you. No,
and
but
and
that one was
Viking
like,
has a great,
see,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
how I would like my
yeah.
sculpt to
And
look.
Viking has a
And
great hedgehog too.
yes,
His little, yeah. I actually use the I use that Printmon thing in Maker World, and so I did a hedgehog, but I'm like, this is not, I did not make this. This is, so I'm not. It's cute. It's cute enough. You know, I printed in rainbow because I was test printing it. First of all,
yeah.
it's terrible, like overhangs and all these other things. But I'm not.
With that thing, it's normal.
Okay.
Like hedgehogs,
Yeah,
I don't know how to make it so it doesn't look
Yeah.
like.
So this, I'm gonna sort of lead into with something. When I started with HueForge, I used all my own images. And anything that I have designed, I'm not a designer, but I've done a couple things. I've started like from scratch in I do Tinkercad, or I've used a couple little tools here and there. Like when I did the maker chips, like Kevin actually set up all the different. So that's not really design. That's bringing something in. But
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this AI stuff?
Oof, I'm gonna make some enemies now. So. AI is a tool, and it's a tool that could be extremely helpful. Like AI, I think it's also good for artists because it can give them some inspiration. You know, like you can quickly pitch some ideas and get something that will push you in certain direction. But I absolutely don't like or support when people say that they are AI artists. That's something so disrespectful to any artist, and and I'm gonna explain why, because it's super easy. If I call a restaurant or pizza place and I order a pizza and that pizza arrives at my place, I'm not gonna open the box and serve that pizza to my family and say, look what I just made. When you prompt something to any kind of AI software, you didn't create anything. You have basically hired someone to do something instead of you, and that's it. That's I think same with a bunch of other things. Technology at one point, like AI, is going to be useful for a lot of stuff, but right now a lot of people can just use it, and people use it to have fun mostly, and I see no harm. Like even that thing, like as someone who creates models from scratch,
Yeah.
I could be like worried that oh, this AI thing is gonna take my job or something. I think it's just a tool that helps some people to create something like um Karen used that
The one, yes,
the one
the one to
that you
make a
can make your
bust.
own face. Yes,
Yeah.
and at this point, I don't like it because I can see that it's applying the same base model to everything, and it looks good from one angle, from most of the others, because I tried it as well just to see how it works, and it's not there yet, but I don't. I shouldn't care about that because it matters to people, to person who don't have any of these kind of skills, and they just wanna their face to be applied something. There's absolutely no harm. They could have hired someone to do the thing. It would be much more expensive. This is something that they can do quickly, get it of the get it out of their system, and everything is fine. But you know you are not. I just hate that part when people say that they are artists, because
Yeah.
for example, I kind of, because I didn't want to go into a certain explanation when I was saying about what stuff I do. uh, I'm directing TV ads, and I do that with my close friend, but I never call myself director because I didn't finish school for director or anything like that, and I just think from my perspective that's like disrespectful. Call myself something that someone had like to needed a lot of, like, to put a lot of effort into something to actually be one. Yeah, I always appreciate whatever someone is doing, because behind every job is hard in certain way. Like even those that you think, oh, they are not doing anything. Yeah, like people who are just going on a bunch of meetings. It sounds really cool, but it's extremely boring. I was doing that too. Like you need, like, maybe it's gonna be fun for the first few days, but come on, try to do that the whole year.
Yeah.
Everything is
It's
hard,
true.
and I appreciate every job basically.
Yeah, I think there's a discussion that's going to keep on going over time. One thing that I notice with a lot of these AI things is they all look the same. Um,
Uh,
like
Look,
you do these
it
prompts, and every girl looks the same. It's based on whose input, and they have their
so
ideal.
this is another thing. Like we have in the office someone who is uh, into AI a lot, and the way how he's using that to create stuff for us is just crazy. It's not like he doesn't just prompt stuff. He's including so many different things, and he's training his own stuff. So he's throwing a lot of time into that, and his stuff is completely different. Like it's not just using Midjourney or any of, I don't even know how many others are out there. I'm not into that as much. I'm actually uh, like I'm using Midjourney for some certain inspiration, or when I need to prompt something like, for example, when we need to make a mood board for our clients about some kind of ad. For me, it's much easier to try that and show them something first, because these days, because of the technology, everyone expects everything fast, and
Yeah, that's true.
you don't want to put a lot of pressure on some of your designers or illustrators to do something where client is just gonna say no. So here now we go with synopsis. Then we made certain mood board, and then if they are for that, then we're gonna develop that into storyboard. Before it was just storyboard and nothing else. So our industry is changing, and we need to react fast. So that's one of the things where I really like AI as a tool.
Now,
Nothing else.
one thing that's kind of been discussed, I've sort of got myself into a discussion with some people on Twitter. They're all designers, and it's where someone does an AI render of a model,
Okay.
puts it in an AI environment, publishes it to. I'll give you an example. Thangs. A lot of it is based on a weekly contest.
Yes.
It's this weekly thing where you pump your model up. So they are AI generated images in an AI environment. It's the prettiest picture up there, and then yet they haven't printed the model. It's really interesting because one of the people that won in one of the categories this last week, Peekaboo is in chat. He printed the model and it's beautiful. He actually used this filament, printed the model, and it's beautiful. But a lot of people said that's an unfair advantage, and the fact that they didn't print it themselves, and then still were able to like get a certain prize or whatever. It's one of those really interesting things where, and also even with like photo contests and stuff like that too, the AI generated images, it's something where I think there's a bit of a division.
I mean, there's like Steve said, Maker World has that problem too. Like there's whenever people see that they can make money somewhere, they will go with everything.
Yes.
Like it's up to community to react, and whoever owns the website where the problem is, they need to react. If they don't care about some stuff, then you can't do a lot. I mean, I've seen so many scams lately. The one that really is pissing me off is how people are trying to earn on like by posting pictures of makes, and what they do, they actually take the print that you did and crop it and upload it again. It's so sad, but you know.
Well, I was in a
always
meeting
scams and
yeah. I was in a meeting yesterday, and like I have developed my own style for most of my pictures. I'm like, I use the white background in my light box, but I don't really edit the picture. I make sure I have the right lighting and all those sorts of things. But
okay.
It was interesting because apparently someone complained and said mine might be like generated. I'm like, nope. So I was in the meeting. I was like, look, I'll zoom in. Look, it's not perfect. It's there. Like, I don't, there's no way to touch, like, you can touch that up, I guess, but I don't actually touch, I don't touch up the pictures. I don't do a lot of, most of my stuff is pre-production. I've learned enough, and that's with an iPhone too. With an iPhone, I've got like a little key light that I use sometimes. Sometimes I turn it different colors. I usually turn off all the lights in my apartment and focus on it. But it's really interesting what ends up happening with people. And
sometimes I clean some stuff that I would usually clean if my eyes were working in the morning, when like I put something to print during the night, wake up in the morning, come here, check the print. If it's good, then I'm gonna take a pictures and use it later for a post when I'm uploading the model. And bunch of times, like it's during the first coffee. My eyes are not open, my brain is not functioning, and I just take a picture and it looks good. Then I throw it on a PC, and then I look like I didn't remove some parts of the support or something. Then I quickly fix that. But usually, no, I like to show how stuff looks, because if you try to like manipulate and do something, that's like expectations versus reality. I hate that when
Yes.
someone shows something that looks like gorgeous and like it's printed on FDM, and no, you just can't do it like that. It's like,
Yeah,
obviously you will have
yeah.
some issues here no
Yeah.
matter what. Like,
Yeah. Well, we were showing earlier some of these pictures that I took. And I mean, when I thought they were like so great, but when I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I even share this? But it is interesting how, yeah, the thing that I was saying before is how the average person that does not have a 3D printer, that does not,
mhm,
they are fascinated by this. And I think
yeah,
sometimes we need to bring back that joy, that wonder. And yes, for people that take pictures as part of, sharing on social media. I mean, sometimes sometimes companies ask me to do these things, and there are people now. It's really interesting. There's people now that designers pay to take photos of their models and all those sorts of things. And it's so, I mean, there's a whole other industry going on there, but it's really interesting what we think is needs to be perfect and what the average person thinks is fantastic. Why do you think
uh,
that silk
average
dragons sell so
person
well?
is not a part of this
Yeah,
community. They don't have printers,
exactly.
so for them it's always gonna be great. Uh, but let me tell you, like I introduced some people, like I started showing some people my prints, and like even my wife, who doesn't care about 3D printing at all, uh, can now spot the layer lines and like, oh, this doesn't look good. Oh, see how this is weird. Before it was like, oh yeah, everything looks great, and then she's, yeah, I remember why. Like for her, when she started painting stuff, you know,
Oh, that's true.
when you see a model like this, everything looks fine. But as soon as you start painting FDM print, you can quickly see imperfections. That's
Yeah,
why when it comes to like absolute quality, I always pick resin for that.
yeah. So as a designer, you design, and most of your, I would say all of your models are resin and FDM printable.
Uh, every model that I created is printable. That's it. Like, I don't think I ever released anything that wasn't printable. But whenever whenever I sculpt something, I'm mostly thinking about FDM, because with resin everything goes. Everything is gonna be buried with
Yeah,
support,
that's true.
and it doesn't matter. But with FDM, I'm trying whenever I can, if it's possible, I'm gonna try to avoid support. Uh, but lately, I'm also not pushing it like 100%. Oh, let's make this support free, and then I'm gonna make some weird pose with the head just to avoid any support. I don't do that anymore, because like you have organic support, you have tree support that it works great. It doesn't prolong sprint time so much, and it's easily cleanable. It it's not terrible as before. Before you just needed to add support under everything and then spend hour cleaning everything and then hating. Now it's so easy.
So for the people on YouTube, we're going to let them go. But the people on Twitch, we're going to hang out as long as Wex would like to.
Okay.
So if you missed this on Twitch and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you come for the next one. But where can people find you? I mean, I will have stuff in the description, but let us know.
I am on a lot of sites. They can find me first of all on Patreon, patreon.com/Wekster. They can find me on Printables. On Printables, I have free models, and I mean free models publicly available for everyone, and those who are for my club members. I have some stuff on cults, on my mini factory, on Thingiverse, and that's it, I think. Yeah. So if you type Wekster, you'll probably find me.
Yes, and spell it right. Wekster. There you go. Anyway, it'll be in the description. But I want to thank you for joining me for the first interview on this channel.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to us having more discussions in future. There's a couple of designers that actually want to do a hangout at some point and talk about different things, and I think that would be fun. But
yeah, I miss those kind of things where you have few designers and talking about their experiences. That's something that I really like, other people's perspective, how to do they struggle with some certain things, like what about creativity. All that is like super important to me, because if you don't talk about these kind of things, then you think, oh, like when it comes to not being creative in certain time, like, am I the problem? Should I be able to just sculpt through the problem or something? So I would really like to have this kind of conversation with a lot of designers one day.
We have a commitment now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful everyone. Have a wonderful time looking through Wekster's library. Everything will be linked here, and of course, anything else that's that you have, ask in the comments. Now I'm gonna